Hello and welcome to Gilmore's Glorious Gossip, a show where we talk about a bunch of nerdy voice actors sitting around playing Dungeons & Dragons. That's right, Critical Role, over on the Geek and Sundry Twitch channel. The art you're currently seeing was created by Andrew Keller. You can see the address to Andrew's art blog on the picture, and a link to it is in the description below. But I just want to send out many wonderful thanks to Andrew for allowing us to use such an amazing image. I'm Akiva, found on Twitter at AkivaDaphydd, AkivaDaphydd. And joining me today are three excellent hosts and fellow critters. Please introduce yourselves, and today tell us who your favorite NPC is and why.
Alice, my favorite NPC is Gilmore. I adore Mr. Mercer's voice on him, so I'm really hoping for a good outcome in the future. But yeah, no, that's about it for me.
Yeah, very appropriate for the show as well.
Favorite NPC. Hi, I'm Cosmic Candy on Twitter, otherwise known as Kalia in real life. And favorite NPC, I'm probably going to have to go with the powder merchant. You want some powder, yes?
Also a personal favorite of mine. Very good for that necessary comedic relief.
It really loosened them up. I was just actually watching a small video of that, and yeah, really loosened them up, and interesting to see. They all clapped afterwards too.
Yes.
Hi, my name's Jordan. I'm at thejokeman117 on Twitter, and favorite NPC. That's an interesting one. I gotta go with Kima though. I gotta go with Lady Kima. I love the way she was introduced and how she was tortured for clearly so long, and she was still such a hard ass.
Oh yeah,
I love that.
I feel like we need to see more of Kima.
Yeah, I
miss
Kima.
Definitely. Well, today we're talking about episode 40. They haven't released the title of it, so I'm calling it The Dragon at the Keep and the Revelations That Come After. So let's go ahead and dive in with the party, escaping Central Amman, back to their keep. And what do they find? A mob at their door and a dragon in their airspace. Holy cow, what a thing to jump into.
Just kicking it off right straight after last week.
I mean, I figured they'd get at least a moment of respite since they were at home, but no.
Oh.
Things are happening way too fast. That's exactly what Matt's trying to prove, right? Like, it's not like, oh, okay, we'll have our long rest and then deal with the dragons. No, that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the other thing, too, is that these dragons are attracted to the chaos. So, I mean, we heard was it Thordak? Thordak, thank you. We heard Thordak mention them as cattle. So that's exactly what these dragons are looking at these people as. They are a meal, and a nice tasty meal, a whole bunch of it in one area. So it's not going to overlook that ease with which to feed.
Absolutely. And for anyone who's listening that hasn't seen the episode yet, first of all, stop listening, go watch the episode. And second, Thordak is the giant ancient red dragon. That's sort of the leader of the Chroma Conclave, I believe they were called.
Yes.
But yeah, what really struck me about the scene, it was the white dragon that was attacking the keep. But
Vorogal, I believe.
Yes. With and it I don't know if it brought down the airship or the other, but it for some reason I got stuck in my head the mob, the dragon, and the airship. and I was like, what is this? The dark side of Narnia?
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, though, that mob.
Yeah. I can understand why they immediately would have gone to the keep, because first of all, it's a big keep, so it would seem you know, pretty safe, but also, you know, it's the pretty well-known home of Vox Machina, the people who have defended the whole city on numerous occasions.
Oh, absolutely. What got to me was the fact that Matt mentioned, the kids. I'm pretty squeamish when it comes to dealing with children, so I tend to gloss over them in any of the campaigns I run. But Matt didn't pull any punches with that mob.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the other thing too is, if I'm remembering right from episode 39, Matt had mentioned that the actual palace where Uriel's throne is based, parts of that castle were taken out.
Mm-hmm. The entire glass, areas of the roof were just shattered and caved in.
Yeah, so I mean the actual castle where people probably would have clambered to initially was destroyed, not destroyed necessarily, but large parts of it were at least damaged and broken. So the next alternative would be to Grayskull Keep.
Yeah, and even if by the time the party arrived at their keep, even if it hadn't been destroyed, at the end of that encounter with the White Dragon, Thordak went back and landed on the palace and completely destroyed it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeesh. But, speaking of the encounter, what about that map?
Oh, that was fantastic.
Oh, man.
That's why I really like playing in person with people. I don't have props like that as a DM yet, but I'm starting to amass minis, and I've got a battle mat, and I've seen lots of videos on YouTube for making your own terrain like that. And there's also companies that you can buy that stuff from. But yeah, it was very impressive to see, the walls of the keep and the different towers and things like that.
Oh, yeah. As a DM, I squeed when I realized that the doors worked.
Really, I love the color. I was just like, that makes my life so much easier.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love the fact that Matt went through the trouble of painting the bases of the heroes. You could, it made it real easy to tell which of the minis on the map were the heroes and which were the mob.
Yeah, that was something I struggled with for a little bit. Outside of Grog and Trinket, it's like, wait, who's attacking now? Oh, is that his mini? But now it's like they're clear defined, with the changing color to not just a standard white piece of paper, and the very clear outline on all of the minis. You can tell immediately who's attacking.
Yeah, and plus, if you're ever lost the legends right on the screen, because they coordinate with the colors on the screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they do on the character portraits.
They had mentioned that they were going to be doing that a couple of episodes ago, but we haven't had a large scale combat in order to see that in action quite yet. I mean, we had the worm battle, but that I didn't even really notice it then either.
Yeah, the worm battle, it was a little bit easier because the minis, rather, were so very different from each other, and it was a much smaller area, so it wasn't as cluttered with the mob in the way. So it was easier to tell, who was who. Yeah,
that's why it was perfect for this encounter specifically, because there were so many just little NPCs from the mob that you could immediately distinguish, okay, that's the giant mob that's trying to get in, there are these people, that's where this person's hiding. It was a perfect example of it.
Yes.
Matt had it planned for so long.
Here's my big question, speaking of plans. Did anybody else notice Matt almost getting it as panicked as Laura when Trinket nearly died?
I
yes.
can imagine that Laura's rage about Trinket dying would be something out of game that he'd have to deal with, and I don't think he wants to bring that on himself.
I mean, we've all heard the story of Travis smacking Trinket on the butt with a flat side of his great axe, and how he slept on the couch that night.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I can't imagine what would happen if he killed Trinket. Jesus.
Yeah, but by the same token, it's not exactly Matt's fault that it happened.
No.
It was something that happened. But look, there was a half second there where Matt was truly panicking, and I cracked up. I couldn't help myself.
I'm wondering if maybe he realized there was like a mistake or something with the movement, or maybe he advised something like wrong, maybe an ill judgment, and maybe that's what got him. Like,
Possible. It's possible.
I don't know. I'd have to watch it again. I'm not a huge Trinket fan, so I'm with Sam.
We talked about that last episode, how to make him more viable, and
Yes.
Yeah.
It's either that or I'm with Sam.
Let's just say I'm glad that Laura multi-classed, because now she has something other than arrows and trinkets.
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you guys think about that? Is that a smart move? Is that...
Oh, absolutely.
I think absolutely, yeah.
For at this point in the 5th edition development, having gone Beastmaster is unfortunately a detriment until they fix the pet combat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, taking one or more levels of rogue will help supplement that.
Yeah.
and especially if she goes assassin instead of arcane trickster.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh god.
And
Could
I
not
think
imagine her as Arcane Trickster.
I think with the amount of time, with the training she got from Seeker Asum, with the amount of time she's hiding in combat, the opportunity for her to proc that sneak attack, it just worked perfectly for her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's not forget that, her brother is a rogue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that she's had this example for so much of her life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not illogical, but see, I'm still not that up to date with multi-classing because I'm a cleric, and
and multi-classing as a cleric is a huge no-no.
Yeah.
yeah, basically.
Yeah. And then at the end of that, when Thordak inadvertently rescues the heroes.
Yeah. I was starting to get scared there because they were so divided about what they were going to do. None of them had any. Half of them said, "Should we run? Should we go? I can't go anywhere because I'm frightened. What do we do?" It's I was starting to get scared that there was going to be some drops.
Oh yeah, for an ancient dragon attack, the entire party has to be focused on that dragon, or else
Yeah.
you're not going to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Matt had a way out. He knew.
I looked up some stats, and man, the amount of damage they did in the time of that encounter, they didn't even do a damn.
Yeah.
Oh.
If it hadn't have been for Percy's natural 20, that dragon never would have even slowed down. It would have just kept strafing back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Which begs the question: would it have been better if it had just been strafing back and forth?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Honestly, it would have been so much worse for them had the dragon kept strafing.
Yeah.
Because then they would have, best case scenario, been frozen inside their keep.
Losers.
Also, if it doesn't land, it takes out a lot of their biggest hitters in Vax and Grog. They do tremendous damage, but they have to be within a certain range to be able to do that damage.
That's true.
If Vax can't throw his daggers, and if Grog can't smack something in the face with a sword or an axe, their damage goes down by a significant amount.
Absolutely.
That's true. It's very true. I don't know. I appreciate Matt having an escape plan too, so it doesn't equal TPK. But
Yeah.
I also like what he said at the end. It's just he knew where he wanted them to go and to get them out of that battle, because I have a feeling that they're murder hobos. They would just fight till the death. I mean, they wanted to run, but would they have?
Well, I mean, they were even talking about it at the table. You hear Travis very clearly asking the party, do we stay? Do we run? Do we fight? What do we do?
Yeah, but
And,
to get that
and you hear
communicated.
Travis going, I don't think we're doing any good against this thing. Running is probably the best option for us. And you know, I mean, you look at the little DM tips thing that played during the intermission there for Matt. It specifically says, have an encounter that your party cannot win.
Yeah.
That's what that was. That's what the
Yep.
previous encounter was. It was an encounter that the party could not win. And as a DM, Matt was letting them know that. He said specifically, it does not look like you have damaged this dragon significantly.
My thing is if Matt hadn't done that, they may have been thinking about running away. Would they have gotten away?
Definitely not.
No.
Honestly, I think with the way things were going, the Vox Machina played their characters perfectly.
Yeah.
And even with Matt, you know, half running, because he said that Sam was sending him texts on what he wanted Scanlan to do. But Grog was all like, well, I can't hit the thing, so let's get the people who aren't combat capable out of the way, and starts pushing Trinket. Keyleth wanted to run. Vax, he wanted to run, but he saw people that he cared about in trouble, so he stayed. Vex saw her brother was staying. She stayed. Percy, he was sort of he was sort of, you know, caught between the two, wanting to run in that, so he, you know, hid inside the door. I think it played out really well. They didn't, you know, Kalia mentioned that they were a bunch of murder hobos, but at the same time, it didn't come across that way to me.
I mean, it didn't really come across that they were just like, screw it, let's try and kill this thing or die trying. It came to me like they would divide, the whole group was like divided. Like Travis had a very clear, I don't know what we're doing here, should we leave? And I looked at everyone's faces when he said that, and pretty much the only one to react was Vax with a shrug of the shoulders, like, I don't know. Like everyone else was just like, either too distracted or not paying attention or had no idea what to do. And it's like, in that case, like if that keeps going, they're just going to continue standing there where Travis is going, should we leave? And everyone is like, ah.
And by that point, Trinket had already gone down and had been revived. So
Yes.
Laura was effectively out of the combat anyway, because she was still thinking about Trinket. You could tell that she was still focused on, oh my god, Trinket almost died again.
Yeah.
So, but thank God that red dragon showed up.
Oh, yeah. That's not something you say often.
Yeah, that's not something you ever say.
Thank God that red dragon showed up and just swooped right on down.
So, moving on to the aftermath of that battle. I don't know how to transition into this as well as they did in the game, but the private talk between Percy and Grog about the skull.
Can we just stop for a second and applaud the role playing that went on during this part of the episode?
God, yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
holy crap. Like, I'm more excited for the role playing than I am for the combat against these dragons, so that's saying something.
As a DM, that's what you strive for.
Exactly. I've been more hands off with my Desert Winds game and letting my party go. And the things that are coming out of just letting the party go is phenomenal. And not only does it... I hate to say it this way because it sounds like I'm being a douchebag, but it makes less work for me as the DM. But
That's valid.
at the same time, it gives me more to work with. It gives me story hooks and things like that. Things that I never would have thought of on my own. The party is creating for me. So to see this role play, I understand why Matt, and when you watch Matt, he is genuinely enjoying watching their role play, but he's also taking notes on stuff for future episodes. Their choices have consequences.
It was actually during that, while he was watching it all happen, watching Matt's reactions, I realized he's as much of a critter as we are. And he's in the show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I just... The confrontation between Percy and Grog, I knew it was going to be bad.
Yeah.
But it got really bad.
But
Dude,
so good.
I've been scared for that. It's like since Grog's had the sword, really, I've been scared for the roleplay that was going to come out of that. I've been like on the edge of my seat, like wanting to see it, but terrified of how it was going to go. And the second that skull was brought up and him and Percy started talking, I was like, oh god, someone's going to get stabbed. Something bad's going to happen.
Yep.
And it was brilliant to watch. Terrifying, but brilliant.
So good. So bad.
Everybody on Twitter was calling for Vox Machina Civil War, and I remember tweeting during the episode, what was that you wanted, critters? Civil War? Well, you got it.
Yeah.
And you know, watching the episode again, Taliesin was having a blast.
Oh,
He
yeah.
predicted the candy
loving
store.
This is exactly what he wanted. And then to have the dice do what they did.
Oh my god, it was so perfect.
To have the dice do what they did made it even more epic.
Can we talk about Travis's face when he's like looking up? He almost became like a broken holy man. Like he has no more faith in his dice ever again.
Yep.
It was so perfect. Like if there was ever a time to roll a 1, it was
Besides, you know,
right.
Scan daughter, like.
Yeah.
It was just right as he's about to just spike it and end it all. Because he rolls that successfully, stuff changes. But oh my god, just the 1 and the instant reaction of him and everyone around him to just go, really? Now?
Yep.
Yep, Crit Jesus said no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the way Matt played that with,
Yeah.
you know, having him looking down at Pike. Because Pike is such an important part of Grog's backstory.
Yep.
Yeah.
But here's my question. Pike was asking Grog for Cutting Edge. Craven Edge, excuse me. Sorry, thank you. But what exactly do you think she was going to do with it?
There could have been any number of things that she would have done with it. I mean, she probably would have detected evil on it.
Yeah.
There's also, I want to say dispel magic, but I don't think that would have happened. Some kind of like purification spell or something.
Honestly, I think she would have done pretty much nothing with it except maybe detect evil, because number 1, they probably wouldn't have had enough time to really do anything more than that. And number 2, she'd probably just be the strong force that could take it away from Grog because of how close they are.
Yeah.
Like there's no way from me as a semi-professional cleric player, that in that situation, like even thinking of my reaction, like I probably would have done nothing with it except throw it in some lava.
Yeah.
Because even at, you know, the party's level, I don't think Pike is strong enough to actually, you know, dispel the magic that is Craven Edge.
True, but Pike would withstand it a lot better.
Oh, absolutely.
A shit ton better.
Especially not knowing the full extent of exactly what is inside that or what is it. Like, there's no way to know
Yeah,
if
but she
it's
could
just a
communicate with the
base level
party.
thing or if it's like deity level enchantment. Like, there's no way of us to know possibly.
But she can help the party understand it better.
Yes, definitely.
Communicate.
Yeah, and really that's what this episode really comes down to, was the fact that there was so much going on and so little communication prior to it going on.
Keyleth put it perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That outburst of we have said nothing to each other for so long.
You assholes aren't, as the quote goes, you assholes aren't communicating. A few seconds go by. Shut up, Percy.
Yep. Druids are awkward.
Well, yeah. But the fact that she held Percy.
Yeah.
For that long.
Well, I mean, it sort of makes sense, because when everybody broke into the room, the way things were set up, it looked really bad for Percy. Even though the party had been listening at the door, it still looked bad on Percy.
Grog set it up perfectly. He set it up perfectly to make it seem like Percy was the real evil one.
Yeah.
It was combat brilliance to be like, I'm going to rush this person and then make it seem like I'm protecting them so that if they break in, they see Percy as the bad one and favor me.
Here's the thing. Do not underestimate Travis. Travis is incredibly smart. He may play a low intelligence character, but he is not a dummy.
Yeah.
Actually, I believe it was Kalia that said to me once, playing a low intelligence character it takes an incredibly smart individual.
It does. It really does.
And just holy cow, he does it like an artist.
Travis has grown so much as a role player from his the first couple of episodes to what he is now and how Grog has changed. Beautiful.
And I think there's a big case for he may have a low intelligence, but his wisdom isn't too bad.
Right.
Yeah.
So that he's not completely just a blank slate that likes food and alcohol. There's some smart there.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
just simple.
It came into play here.
Intelligence is the smarts. Wisdom is knowing how to apply those smarts.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And he knows how to apply those limited intelligence very well.
Right.
The one thing that still, I guess you could say, sticks to me is the fact that the skull is holding a Githyanki. And I guess we're sort of segueing into Allura at this point.
We still haven't talked about Pike's Planetary yet.
Oh,
Yes, please.
man. Let's talk about that for a moment. I mean, obviously that happened before the party came down into Percy's little
Makes me
little
so
chamber.
happy. I love the way Matt described everything, and then when Ashley didn't quite understand the full extent of the spell, it still became a really nice medium that they met, right? Because they wouldn't even be able to afford to put the creature in battle, but at the same time, Matt's just like, well, you summoned it, here's what I advise. And it's really hard playing via Skype and stuff, because, I mean, I doubt Ashley can see any of their reactions until, except for Matt, maybe, until the stream catches up on her end.
Well, no, because she's actually watching the live cameras, not the stream.
Is she?
Yes.
She's watching. I think she watches both.
She does watch both, but she's actually watching the chat. She stated before she's primarily watching the chat.
Oh God.
And watching her. Yeah, that's why she's so distracted so often. She's not actually interacting with the chat that I can see, but then again, it goes so fast, I can't see much of anything.
Yeah, that's true. I just thought it was like a nice, amazing moment, especially to have Pike be active and do what she does, because there's, a druid can't do that, right? And I'm kind of no, I don't have the 3.5 fourth or any of the other edition experience, but I know that different classes can now take the healing spells, right? And decent healing spells, but there's not really an abundance of classes except for maybe monk that could do something like that.
No, monk
And
can't do that.
no,
No.
okay,
No,
that's the only one I could
No.
think of. But that makes her a really big deal, and it makes me happy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if a paladin can do that, and paladins are champions of the gods. So,
Yep.
Well, I mean, it's really interesting for me. I mean, I knew when Matt was, describing everything about Saren Ray's trepidation about manifesting herself into this situation when she was still trying to gather what was going on exactly. I knew that Matt was going to be bringing in a type of angel, but I didn't know exactly what type. And then Matt started describing it, and it didn't seem like either. In the monster manual there are 3 types of angels listed, and this could even be pulled out of something from Pathfinder. It may not necessarily be a planetar, but planetars are like they are the justice arm of the government, pretty
Yes.
much. They go out and they serve justice wherever it's deemed necessary, where the other types, the devas, are more messengers, and the solars are they are the warriors. The planetars are more messengers, but they also are kind of the law upholding portion of the angels too. So to have a planetar actually come in, that made a lot of sense to me.
Honestly, I was expecting a Deva. I was expecting the messenger myself.
Why?
Because Saren Ray may be a goddess, and Pike may be the current focus of Saren Ray's affections, for lack of a better term of putting it. But when Matt said that Saren Ray herself was hesitant to show up, I was like, okay, well, it would make sense to send a messenger, find out exactly what is desired. But then the Planetar showed up, and I'm like, that's not a Deva. This could go very interesting. And I burst out laughing when I realized that they had the Planetar cleaning up the mess. But it was done in such a way that Saren Ray now has new converts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's important.
Yeah.
As Liam said, dial 1-900 Saren Ray.
Mm-hmm.
I think in character, it was a really good moment because at that point there was so many people who were like homes are just destroyed, people are dead, like a whole bunch of stuff's just gone horrifically wrong, and here's this, for lack of for people who didn't have the knowledge of that in character, angel who's just popped up and now is helping repair the thing that we're all having shelter in. Like, it was a very beautiful moment to picture.
Oh yeah, and the way it was worded,
Mm.
Pike
Yeah,
Pike had asked, help these people, and the angel was like, well, the best way to help them in the long term was, the repair of the temple as a place for them to be safe and a place for them to get what they need.
well, and not just the temple, but the keep, because
yeah.
because Pike did say repair this keep. It just so happened to start with the temple, the gathering of the stained glass and reassembling it and placing it back into position with the divine energy. And I thought that was a really beautiful moment to see this angel giving everybody hope. And I can kind of see Pike after the fact just kind of shrugging her shoulders and being all humble, going, it's what I do.
Yeah.
And then going back to helping the rest of the people find solace and comfort in something, anything at that point.
Absolutely.
Ike's the cleric I aspire to be.
Yes. And then that moment between Vax and Vex. Don't leave me. Don't be if I can't see you, you're too far away.
It hurt. It hurt
Yeah.
a lot. There was a lot of feelings, and even their reactions to, like, Laura's reactions, like, that got me. And I've been pretty good about, like, not, like, crying or anything like that with the show. Like, I've been not too bad, but I was like, I looked at Laura's face, and I was like, ooh.
Mhm.
Yeah. I can't look at Laura in these episodes, man, because it hurts.
It really does.
She busts down so quickly. It's like, oh my god. And even when she was rolling, she's like, give me a break. I'm having a hard time here. I'm like, oh my god.
Which I asked this question, not only to myself but also in our little critter chat. How much of it was acting and how much of it was actual emotion. I think at some point they forgot which was which, and they were there.
Well, and we've heard the players on various periscopes, even like the Q&A sessions that Geek and Sundry has had, which they haven't had one for a while. Hint, hint. We've heard the actors themselves and the players say, we have been these characters for so long, and I can say this as a performer. We have been these characters for so long that they start acting on their own. I was a ventriloquist for many years, and even now, if I pull my ventriloquist figure out and start talking, he has his own personality, and it just comes out. The stuff that he says, I have to. I mean, I try to filter it, but there's no way that I can, because it is him. He has life and breath, and these characters too have life and breath. And trying to separate the actor from the character, it's impossible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
True, and I think even if they could, they wouldn't. Because they love everything that they're doing so much at that table, and now even because it's a show, like, in a heartbeat they would cry, like, no problem. I think the big turning point was when the phrase came out about their mother, that I think both of them were basically just about to lose it.
Oh yeah.
The other thing too is I kind of look at role playing as a form of long form improv. I know I've mentioned it before, but I've got a huge background in improv theater, and more specifically improv theatrical comedy. But towards the end of my run, while I was in the Air Force and I was actually directing this group, we actually started leaning a little bit more towards long form improv. Now, some of our group members didn't enjoy it as much as I did, but I think it gives a more honest performance, and it allows things to build up a little bit more than just doing the short form improv games like you see on Whose Line Is It Anyway. We're able to pull more from the actual, in the moment, what's happening, and letting it build. And that's what role playing is. It is a long form improv game. So you are able to get the sincere character moments and build on them and get invested in them, and that's why we see this pure emotion coming out.
And then there's
Absolutely.
Sam.
And then there's Sam.
Yeah. But at the same time, I get the feeling that, and this is more of an analysis of what Sam puts on Twitter and Instagram. Sam and Scanlan are the same person. The only difference is how they accept society's rules. That's really it.
Pretty close, yeah. They've melded into one person, yeah.
But, moving on, I guess, technically, since all of that was before. When Alora and the dwarf showed up.
Yay,
I had
dwarves!
I had a scream. I had a scream moment when I heard that last name. I was so happy.
Yes,
Yeah.
the dwarf turned out to be Drake Thunderbrand.
Ah,
Now, correct me
so
if
good.
I'm wrong, but wasn't that the house that Tiberius tried to break into?
It absolutely
Yeah.
was.
Mm-hmm.
I thought so.
Try-
I couldn't find it in the back episodes because I didn't remember which one it was.
That'd been one very first episode.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Okay.
they got straight into Craighammer, and then they, after getting into the tavern, they split up, and he went and glacial blasted a home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the very first episode.
Okay.
And then they revisited it later. I'm not sure what that episode was, but they revisited after, I think, the Kavarn
Just after it was after
encounter.
Vassal. It was after Vasselheim.
Okay.
Just after they completed all the stuff with the take, they got back. They were just like, "Listen, we need to go. We need to get gold." And they pieced out, got the gold, and then went. That's when they did the whole stuff with getting the favor from Gilmore at the Alabaster Lyceum in Imon.
Yeah.
And they also returned, Tiberius also returned that locket to the head
Yes.
of House Thunderbrand.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, they didn't actually use Gilmore's.
I believe I think Tiberius might have got the. He used the favor to get the sigil for Western. I believe.
That's right. That's right. He did use it. Okay. Thank you for that.
Mm.
But yeah, so they showed up, and Allura identifies the Githyanki in the skull.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Kali, you'll probably know a little bit more about this than I do, but the Githyanki, I only know them as interdimensional pirates, for lack of a better way of putting it. Was there anything more to it as to that would be a reason why the Githyanki was put in this gem?
I've read about the Githyanki. I haven't read about them here recently. So unfortunately, I can't speak to it as much as I would like to. But even as I say this, I'm looking up the Githyanki.
Same.
But I mean, a lot of times you get these powerful wizards that need to be stopped, and I mean, Matt said it was a soul gem, which the only thing that I know that have soul gems are the Slotty,
Well,
which
depends on.
basically allows control of the Slod.
Yeah, but at the same time, a soul gem, isn't necessarily only the. It isn't the sole terrain of the Death Slots. It's a gem that holds a soul.
Well,
That's
and
all that is.
there is also there's a spell. It's a fifth. No, I'm sorry. It is a 9th level spell. That is imprisonment. Is that right? The spell is imprisonment, regardless of what level it is. That will allow you to trap a creature inside a spell or inside a gem of sufficient cost. Basically, I think you need a gem worth like 1,000 gold or something.
It is level 9, and it is. You need at least 500 gold per hit die of the target, and a carved statue likeness of the target, statuette of the
Yeah.
target. So yeah, it's expensive.
Well, yeah. You can either it can either be the statuette or it can be just the gem.
Yeah.
If you go, it depends on the type of imprisonment that you use.
Yeah.
So there is just a simple imprisonment
And
So,
even
like,
looking,
one here is called Hedged Prison. The spell transports the target into a tiny demi-plane that is warded against teleportation and planar travel. The demi-plane can be a labyrinth, a cage, a tower, or any similar confined structure or area of your choice. And that requires the miniature representation of the prison made from jade.
look at the one underneath that though. Minimus containment is the target shrinks to a height of 1 inch and is imprisoned inside a gemstone. So it may not be exactly that, but you can see that it's like a amalgamation of a bunch of them. Like there's clearly something crazy that's going on here.
Yeah, there's another one called Soul Jar, that basically it's a necromantic spell where you trap your soul inside a gem, a vessel, some type of container, and you are still aware of your surroundings. You're aware of what's going on around you, but the only action you can take within Soul Jar is to try and possess another being. That's it.
I don't think that there was any possession going on. So, I mean, really, this all gets back to, in the end, the promise of a wish. I don't think that the Githyanki would have even had the power to grant the wish.
I mean, it depends. Is he a 9th level caster? If he's a 9th level caster, then he can cast Wish.
Oh, yes, but considering he was the one trapped in there, I don't. Again, this is just speculation.
Yeah,
I don't think he was the one that put himself there.
No.
If he had cast a spell, he would have put the skull somewhere where he would know that he'd be able to get out.
I think it's the whole situation is really like there was nothing good that was going to come out of that. Like they might not have even been able to grant the wish. Like that's questionable.
And especially considering after the game was over, Taliesin himself said that the deal that was being offered by the skull was such a bad deal. Even I said no, and I totally wanted to say yes.
Yeah. If there was anyone that would be looking for a reason to say yes to that, it would be Taliesin.
Okay, so now here's an interesting entry in the Githyanki. And I'm not going to go super deep into this, but the entry simply says Red Dragon Riders.
Oh.
Apparently there was and this is strictly Forgotten Realms lore. This is not the lore that Matt has created. But basically there was a deal between Tiamat and the Githyanki, and after all of this transpired, the Gith returned to the astral plane, and they were basically allowed to ride red dragons, but not all red dragons honor the Alliance.
Which kind of makes me, considering that it was in General Krieg's house. I mean, granted, somebody else moved in afterwards, but it was still General Krieg's house, who it's been insinuated that General Krieg was part of this Chroma Conclave. Maybe Thordak was once ridden, didn't like it, said, screw you, and trapped the Githyanki in the skull, simply out of spite.
Well, if that's the thing, wouldn't that Githyanki be like, hey, screw you, Red Dragon, and maybe be an ally? It's not worth the risk, but...
Oh, definitely not worth the risk, and we don't know anything about this Githyanki. It's just a Githyanki and a gem.
By just standard Githyanki definition, they are... they're basically chaotic evil, and they don't give a damn about anything else.
Yeah.
The Githyanki have become ruthless conquerors under the rulership of their Dreadlich Queen Vlaakith. So...
Yeah. But so
now it's killing me. The whispers that Matt has said to both Taliesin and Travis is just killing me.
I love it. I love it so much. Because it makes it like it almost brings you in a little bit, because you're like, oh my god, what are they saying? What's going to happen? Like, it really sucks you in a little bit to find out what the heck is going on in there.
Absolutely.
I think it was interesting too. I don't know if anybody else noticed this, but while the whispers were going on between Matt and Taliesin, they actually shut off the audio at one point because the microphones were so close to Taliesin that you
He was
could
talking and you could hear him responding. Yeah.
Yeah.
So everyone on the other side was going, "Oh God, we can hear it! Cover your ears!"
Yep.
I know. I have crappy
So-
hearing, so I can't. I thought it was an audio glitch.
No, the thing that got me, because at first I was like, "What is that? Is that them?" And then Taliesin said, "And what would the cost be?"
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah. So, moving on from that, still sends shivers down my spine though.
Yep.
But go
I
ahead.
have one more thing. Can we talk about Keyleth and Allura and their moment between Matt and Marisha?
I was actually
because-
moving on to that.
Okay.
Oh.
I was like, let's not forget that because holy crap.
That was heartbreaking.
It was heartbreaking, but how Matt handled it, like, per Marisha too.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure of all of the characters, Matt knows all of Keyleth's, like, weaknesses and stuff like that, just naturally because they're closer, right?
Yeah.
And it blew my mind just how intense both of them were and how they, like, flicked it on, like, right away. And I don't know if you'd have the same reaction with, say, somebody like Matt and Laura, but holy crap, that was amazing.
Absolutely. A lot of people... A lot of DMs, myself included, are kind of iffy when it comes to running a game where it's a you got 4 or more adventurers and your significant other is one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hesitate on that because I'm like, how much of this is going to bite me in the ass and how much are the other players going to wonder, am I playing favorites? But Matt
I'm in that
handles
situation right now with Desert Winds.
Dare I ask? But no, I'm not asking. Let's not get into it here. But no, the way Matt is handling it, that at least as far as I can see, he is doing an amazing job, and everybody is just so understanding.
It's well established, and I think you, as an experienced DM, probably would have established that at the beginning of the entire game. That, even Lawrence and Trevor are married too, right?
Yes, but they're both on the same side of the table.
That is true, but at the same time, they have a lot of time to talk too.
Yes. But the point I'm getting at is, I have known DMs that have had their spouses in the player party, in player parties that I've been, and one step out of line towards the spouse's character, and it was Wrath of the Gods on whoever it was that did that. And it ruins the fun.
Yeah.
But, like I said, Matt and Marisha are just phenomenal at handling it.
Yeah.
But, wow.
Yeah, that whole scene, starting of when Allura started telling when she heard the name, when she recalled the name, and when she heard the fact that it was a massive red dragon, and just the recognition on Matt's face as Allura of just going, oh my god, it's what I think it is.
Yeah.
And then that whole story coming out was just, the whole moment was brilliant.
Let's actually talk about that for a moment. When Allura was, recounting the story of Thordak, and his capture and imprisonment and all that, was it just me, or did we get confirmation that Thordak was the one responsible for the twins' backstory?
We got confirmation.
Good confirmation.
Yeah, it seems
Okay.
Because
that
it
way,
said, because Allura said, and I don't remember the exact words that she said. I was trying to keep it in mind, because I just finished watching the episode. But Allura says when X City was just starting to become a shining gem,
yeah.
it was cut down. And when Matt said the name of that city,
The look on
Liam's-
Laura
I
and
don't
Liam's
think it was
Liam's
the
and
face.
city.
Laura's faces.
I don't think it was that city. It was like mentioned in passing, like because she said this city was destroyed. We went to this one, and I think he let the name slip, and like after, and then that's when they reacted. Because I actually remember, I don't remember the name, but I remember it wasn't like because they both kind of were like, oh, okay, it's been destroyed, and then he plopped it, and they like looked at each other and just broke down in their brains.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was that shining jewel of the city one, or shining jewel of the desert one, flower of the desert, whatever. It was one of the ones that was mentioned in passing, and I think that also is incredibly scary because that's like, oh, just an afterthought, and they're just like, no, this is a big deal.
One of those moments, they're like, I'm just going to drop this. If you miss it, it's your own fault.
Yep, pretty much. That's how I interpreted it.
Oh, yeah. And, for Allura, it wouldn't have been a big deal because she didn't know that the twins were from there.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know each other on that level. But for the twins, their entire world is just now biting them in the ass.
And
Yeah.
Matt knows
And
exactly what he's doing.
And I think, if I'm remembering correctly, I've been trying to watch the twins' backstories closely, and I can't remember if it was in Liam's introduction or if it was in Laura's introduction, but I think it was mentioned that it was a red dragon that destroyed their city when they were young.
Oh, no, in both of them, they don't ever identify the color of the dragon.
They just say...
Liam just says it's the day that they learned of the day the dragon came.
Okay.
But they don't identify the city or the color of the dragon.
Just
They show an image of a dragon when that happens, whether that's, accurate or not.
Yeah,
Another question, yeah.
It's a black and white image,
Yeah.
so...
But Tuck Roll, I'm gonna throw this shout out to Tuck Roll real quick. She did actually ask Liam, and I had it pulled up and it just refreshed. Son of a... Okay. But Tuck Roll did actually ask Liam the name of the city that Vex and Vax were in with their mother, and I think it was Irodan?
I'm looking it up right now because I have the script printed, or not printed, but give me a moment. I will find it. Because I do the transcribing and slowly working on it, I have a full doc of the new intro, the 20-minute one, that I have all the words to. I was lucky enough to be handed the script for it that they used to dub over it, and I ended up having it formatted and sending it to Geek and Sundry so that they can subtitle it properly.
Nice.
So I'm just trying to find that part because I'm an idiot and keep closing my Google Docs. But yeah, no, so far from what I can search, there doesn't seem to be any pure mention of which dragon color it is.
Yeah, and
No,
I don't
not-
think I didn't think they even named the city that they were from. At least in the little intro thing.
Yeah, they mentioned Singorn, but that's like the
about it,
Elven.
Yeah, that's the Elven capital.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, it's funny because just last week, that was actually saying, why are we here, asking for a reason. It's like, well, may or may not be the dragon that destroyed, whole party of backstory. You're looking for a reason? Here you go.
yep, like we were talking about last week. There it is.
Yep. All you gotta do is ask, and the DM shall provide.
And then, that after they get that information out of Allura, they start telling Allura about their assault on General Krieg his house and all that. And then we hear that Western falls.
Yes. That was a scary moment, honestly. It was just like, it's not just here. Like,
Yeah.
it's possibly the entire world beyond what we've even seen on the show. Like,
Absolutely.
they haven't been to Western while we've been in the show, have they?
No. I think they've been once, but I don't think that we've seen a lot during
It's
the
like
show.
there've been numerous mentions of it, but it's
Yes.
like that's a place that we've pretty much heard about, but not experienced. And it's like, and now there's just places in the world that are just getting destroyed by this event. And it's like, it just brings the scope of it to an even bigger level, if that was possible.
Well, I made the thought that occurred to me when I heard that was, is this a prelude to a global story arc?
Yep.
I mean, after all, it is getting to be that level for these characters.
Yeah.
I said that from the beginning. I was like, they're getting at the level. It's a global story arc now. They're completely like, this city thing is done.
Yeah.
Time to save the world.
And actually, I want to thank Kalia for mentioning that last episode, or last Gilmore's Glorious Gossip, rather, is that they are getting to be that level. It's no longer, they're on top of their own little world. It's time to expand out to show them there's more to the world than just that.
And the fact that they're mortal.
Yeah, they're definitely mortal.
Yes.
That's been proven the last couple episodes. The name of the city where the twins grew up with their mother was Byrodin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that was said in passing.
Byrodin.
Yeah,
But
that was what was said in
that
passing.
was specifically a question that Tuck Roll asked Liam and Matt,
And
or Liam and Laura rather. She asked that specifically. What was the name of the town where you grew up with your mother? So that was my eyes picking up on that question.
yeah, and
Not that it was specifically mentioned in the episodes.
no, but it was mentioned in Allura's story. So, so after this, both stories get out, Keyleth decides to go scrying. And we have a new hashtag.
Yeah.
No Mercy Mercer.
That was brutal. And it had it does bring in the question, like, I know they've already said, you didn't cause it, but did that have a effect? The fact that they went in and out of the elemental plane of fire where they saw this creature before they saw Thordak before. Did that have an effect? Like them going in and using this portal and go, well, there's an escape route. I'm going to use it and I'm going to kill everyone who's on the other side.
Yep. 'Cause honestly, I think it was one of those things where, although, now this is again, we're getting into the realm of just purely speculation on my part.
Yes, absolutely.
But Allura said that they had trapped Thordak in that gem, that huge giant gem.
They didn't trap him in it, but he was soul bound to it. He was soul anchored to it.
Yeah. But, there was no mention of, he may be soul anchored there, but that doesn't limit his travel.
Mm-hmm.
He may not be able to cast the spell to travel anymore, but that doesn't mean he may not. That does not necessarily mean that he can't hijack somebody else's spell to get out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
So he literally was like, "Hey, you're casting. Let me join."
I'm less inclined to believe that.
I think it was more of a, hey, look, here's a weak point that you guys are casting on all the time. I'm going to take the gem through so that I'm no longer anchored on the plane of fire and now anchored back into the prime material plane, or the dragons manage to destroy the soul anchor so that he can be free. And at the end of that, we're so wiped out that they needed to find another way to get out of the plane of fire and use that.
Yeah, but they, Allura mentioned that it's curious that it happened around Winter's Crest when the barriers were weaker, and the trip to the Fire Ashari was a lot earlier than the Winter's Crest festival.
True, but by the same token, as in tune with the barriers as the Ashari would be during Winter's Crest, under normal circumstances, they would either use it less so as to not draw attention to it, or increase the defenses, if that makes any sense.
I think maybe something crazy happened. The dragon figured it out, murdered all the Ashari on his way out.
Yep.
I don't think there was honestly anything that they could do.
Oh, probably not, no.
They would have put up a hell of a fight.
There's only so much you can do against that sort of creature, that entity.
I'm reminded of a sci-fi epic that we all know and love. There's nothing you could have done, Luke. If you had been here, you would have been slaughtered too. And the Empire, forgetting the quote now, but the Empire would be in possession of those droids.
Yep.
Similar idea.
It's true. There's nothing they could have done. If they were all standing there, they would have been brutally massacred.
Yep. Which brings us to the end of the episode. And how about that? The episode actually ended on time for once.
I know, and I've
Why?
never been saltier that they stuck to a schedule.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Even and I'm forgetting her name. Please, for the love of God, forgive me. Pike's player.
Ashley
Ashley
Johnson.
I wanted to call her
How
Anne
dare
for some
you.
reason. I wanted to call her Anne. I'm so sorry. Ashley, I am so sorry. Please forgive me. But Ashley was sitting there saying, "No, can we please keep playing? Please,
That
please."
was-
Yep, can we play longer?
In the universe, that was so cute. Just down the middle of it, can we play longer, please?
And considering how late it is for her.
Oh yeah,
She's the best.
absolutely. I love the Matt's initial reaction after saying that's where we'll wrap up, and everybody was just silent. D&D is fun.
D&D will never be fun again, says Marisha.
Yes. Oh man.
That was the best.
I loved how the ending was like a little bit of aftercare.
Yeah.
Like
A very much needed aftercare.
but it was really nice for the community too, right? Because we got to see them like breathe and then talk a smidgen about the PvP,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
And that was like you could tell that they were going through the characters' emotions and not necessarily like Taliesin has something against Travis. Like it was
Yeah.
nice to see that too because our minds turn and turn and turn and we draw from illogical conclusions. Some illogical conclusions. So it's like it was really nice to see like, oh yeah, they're all friends again. Okay.
And
Especially
honestly,
that. There you go.
go ahead.
I was just saying, yeah, that's especially prevalent in the whole Travis and Liam prank, rivalry that's happening. Like, you see them consistently be like, "Don't worry, we're actually still friends. Travis and Liam still love each other. They're still friends. They don't actually want to murder each other." Like,
Oh yeah.
And we need a reminder of that.
yeah, because sometimes the lines can get blurred, and people can be like, "Well, is this the players, or do the people actually hate each other, and is our group breaking up?" Oh no.
Yeah. And honestly, even if that wasn't the case, after all of the after Keyleth's scrying and just all of the mob getting hit and just so many emotions playing out through the thing, I'm glad they did that because I, as a viewer, needed that little moment of aftercare to pull back and be like, it's just a game. Everything
Yeah.
will be okay. And
Yeah.
I find myself needing to do that with books and movies too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I love about this game, man. Dungeons and Dragons. Like, you get so involved that after some dark moments, you need to take a step back and be like, it's okay. It's not actually real. It's a game. It's
I'm alive.
And I love that so much. I love that you can get that, and especially it talks to the pure, like, the quality of these people that are in this amazing game, that us as viewers who aren't even in the game need to take a step back and go, okay, it's not real, it's okay. Like, it's just the overall quality and of not only the production but the people involved is just, it's incredible.
Absolutely.
I tote, or I guess I tout Critical Role as better than television. I think I might have
Yes.
said something about that last episode too, but
It really is.
it is better than television. I don't have cable at home,
Mm.
and I would much rather watch something on the level of Critical Role than network television, with the exception of Blind Spot. Ashley, Blind Spot is great. um,
I'm a horrible
But-
person. I haven't seen it yet.
oh, check it out! It's awesome. But I mean, it is really deep, and the stories that Mercer is fabricating are awesome. They are masterfully woven, and for my players of Desert Winds who may be listening, I apologize in advance. Shit's about to get real.
Oh man.
Only I had a Thursday off.
and yet you say that right before the game where we're going to go in. Oh.
Against the big nasty skeleton thing. Yeah.
See, I'm happy because in one of our games that I'm in, we just passed a really brutal story arc where basically an entire city got leveled. Kind of, maybe you're not because of us. I don't know. I'm not saying anything, but still, we just passed all the heavy stuff. So I'm glad we get a reprieve for about half a session.
We haven't even started. We're like, hey, there's a war coming. Ah, shit.
Yeah, and for those that are playing in my game, Sweet Suffering, they've already seen the edges of the war.
Yeah. It's not gonna be fun. I'm attached to the dwarven kind too because my first D&D cleric was a dwarf, like a hill dwarf. So anything with dwarves is like the soft spot with me, and it hurts.
Yes. Yes. Well, that actually brings us to our DM's Corner / question of the week. And unfortunately, this week I had trouble finding a question that just really caught my attention.
Mm.
So do you guys have anything that you would like to bring up?
I have one.
Go ahead.
As a DM, would you be able to do what Matt did and basically destroy the entire city they've been playing in for 2 years in like a heartbeat?
Yes.
Would you be able to legitimately make it through with your sanity?
Yes.
I think so.
Okay, with my sanity is kind of questionable, but I have.
I didn't have that to begin with, so
Yeah.
yes.
I actually have. There was one game that I was running, and this was back in the 3.5 days. The group decided that they were going to save the city from its ruler because its ruler was an abyssal entity in human form. What the party didn't realize was that the abyssal entity had, gone, for lack of a better term, gone rogue as far as abyssal entities go, and was actually on the side of good, and was building the city up and doing a really good job. So when the party's paladin was like, "You're an abyssal entity, I must destroy you," without thinking, without trying to figure out what is this thing's goals, what is it being good to the city, is it being bad for the city, the entire city rioted and ended up completely burning to the ground because of the party's actions.
That hurts my
I
soul.
think Matt has said it a few times on Twitter how it's a very cathartic and odd experience to have built these things for the better part of just over 3 years now, and now he's bringing in these things, these plans that he himself has said he's had for 1 to 2 years, and just watching himself destroy all these things that he's created. Very weird but cathartic experience.
I mean, being a part of the military previously, they talk about how basic training is, we're here to break you down to rebuild you. And when the characters of Critical Role come out of this whole Chroma Conclave scenario, they're going to be completely different from when we first knew them.
Oh, absolutely.
So this is a breaking right now, and we are going to see them rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking forward to similar moments in my campaign.
One of which I may be kickstarting, unfortunately, but yeah. Anyway, that was a good question.
Very good question.
Thank you for asking.
I'm too nice. That's my thing. I would lost my brains if I did that.
You'll learn.
So
I know I'll learn.
So for next week, Twitter, ask us the questions. Send them to us at Akiva or at myself or at Jordan. Send us the questions. We'll be more than happy to answer your questions.
And actually, if you guys want to use the hashtag DM Corner, it will allow us to be able to see them and address them. If it's not one that we choose to address on the show, we may be able to address them either individually or as a group throughout the week as well.
Absolutely.
Certainly.
Mm-hmm.
So, that brings us to the end of this episode. And it is with trepidation that we await the next Critical Role.
Please pardon me while I critter jitter nervously in a pile on the floor in the corner.
I think we need a cuddle pile. But until next week. Indeed. Until next week, thank you guys for watching. We hope to see you again. And until next time, kick back, relax, and enjoy your games.